towards LGD. It will be the Jarvan, at least J4, and the Ezreal so far banned by LGD.
So with Nocturne banned, Shen banned, it's a question of the Camille Ziggs at this point, in my opinion. Because Shen's out, you really don't want to be giving Camille when Shen's out oftentimes. So we'll see how teams are feeling about the Camille dynamic. If there's other pros, Cassio is still open. She's really powerful. The champs against her being the Syndra, the Victor, Orianna. Orianna less powerful with the Nocturne. You still got the likes of Nefiria, Vi, Wukong, some engage options. But we will see what they're going for here. Jace being open as well. A nice blind pick people like. I don't think Rumble's too popular with the AP bots. I would say Camille or Ziggs is an angle we would usually see here.
Yeah, I could see that. Especially with a little bit of power coming through. Man. They just already having problems, really man.
So is that
already having problems?
1-0 LGD at that point? I think that's just 1-0 LGD. I mean, they couldn't decide. That's on them, man. That's on them. I mean, how is that even balanced? They can just take their time. Now they're going to discuss, what do you guys think? Should we go Camille or Ziggs? I think this is a
little extra time. No.
Nah,
it's curious, though.
I think that's what they would pick, though, to be fair.
Yeah. I feel like it's so funny, technology in general. You could do this every day and it go flawlessly, and then one random day 3 weeks in it just breaks. And then you just have to go through this. It's a good time. We've actually had a couple technical difficulties across the last week or so here in the LPL. It's very unfortunate, but hopefully we'll be getting back into the draft very soon. We barely got into it, literally just the bans. Which doesn't feel too far. We don't get to dissect exactly what they first picked or things along those lines, but like you were saying, kind of those focuses do seem the right way.
Yeah, as far as I understand, I've gotten to take a bit of an insider experience into the tournament realm, and there can be a lot of user error on there, where sometimes people are starting draft in the wrong draft mode, or they're selecting the wrong lobby type or roles or something like that, and getting all the spectators in there, making sure it's the right settings, the right accounts, everything like that. So sometimes it takes a bit longer than you want it to, but I think that it just was one of those miscellaneous glitches or bugs or problems, hopefully, where they could just restart the lobby, fire up the champ select, and everything should be fine in the next minute or two. But if it's something more than that, then it's definitely a bit interesting that these teams are going to get some time here, where what can happen as a player is you're just sitting there in, anticipation of being able to play. But because you can't play, it starts to make you really anxious and jittery and impatient.
Crazy?
So we'll see. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Go insane on stage. Pressure is on.
Crazy stuff, Mazel. I'll say it like that. I've seen.
You got some war stories. Got some war
can't
stories.
really explain when
What's
the game
your
is
wildest
paused for too long.
waiting for the game pause?
Okay, all right. You want to know a really crazy story? So we
Yeah.
almost got to play the ranked fives with Aaron Lee, Mr. Chrome. Some people know him, but we
Okay.
can't finish
Yeah.
the story, Mazel. They actually
No, we
finished it off with us.
can't. No. We'll come back to it.
The story is, if you pause a game for too long, it starts flashing red, the timer, and then the game unpauses. So you just gotta be careful not to pause too long. Okay.
Gotta be ready for it.
And
all right.
just
Well,
like
I'm
that,
ready for the
Orianna
first
comes
pick.
in.
Yeah.
That settles it. They wanted the Orianna after all. So we'll see what LGD goes for. They could just snap the Ziggs Camille, but we'll see.
Could be that. Maybe some flexibility in the first couple picks as well, but also could just go with a matchup into the Orianna, because you know where that's going. So the Rise does end up getting locked in alongside the Nefiri, insta-locked for LGD.
I mean, that's a pretty interesting choice, because Orianna really likes to have Nefiri on her team. And there it goes. We'll see if Kim Down. Okay, if the lights come back on,
Kim Down,
thank
please.
Kim Down in the chat. He's the GOAT, just so you all know. The went up support.
I believe in you, Kim Down.
We will see if well, the reason why it's Nefiri here, in my opinion, is because it's just such a good pairing with the Orianna. So if you take it away from her, she can't have access to that shockwave combo. Really strong champion on this patch. But the Rise is a bit of a self-counter. We've seen Showmaker, the likes of some of these really high tier mids, have pretty extreme success with the Deathfire Touch rise into the Orianna. It really is a test of skill with the mouse, how well you can weave in and out of those command attack ranges and get your poke on there, burning with the rune. So it's a really interesting that Tangyuan is just willing to let Shanks have that presumably favorable matchup.
Man.
But we'll see what they go for here.
I feel like Poppy's so good into the Nefiri here. I know Tarzan is a Poppy aficionado as well. Still, obviously, some flexibility between him and Kael. Kael has played that one as well. But it's more important to kind of continue focusing on what these compositional strengths are going to look like. Because we have very, very heavy solo lane focus for the first phase from AL. Oh, the Vayne. Locked in, baby.
Okay, so the Vayne is pretty much because they're reading that this Olaf wants to go in the hands of Breathe. But the thing with Olaf is he is a flexible pick. It basically calls out on the double flex potential of AL, because technically Poppy can be flexed between jungle and support, and Olaf can be flexed between jungle and top. Now that they pick Vayne, it means that Breathe is not going to want to take Olaf. And the actual repercussion of this is they're probably going to want to send Poppy support so that Olaf can go jungle and they don't have to make Olaf lane against Vayne. So we'll see if they ban champs who are good into Vayne, but pretty much this is them slamming the gauntlet saying, don't send this Olaf top, or Burdol Vayne is just going to gap you.
Yeah, and I could absolutely see it happening. I mean, we were talking about the solo bolos, you know, the perfect setup to get more solo bolos is an ADC in top lane. But in the second phase, we do see some of those particular focuses. The Camille banned away, the Seraphine actually banned away by LGD, and then we already see the Corki that was banned by AL.
Yeah, the Corki ban, I suppose that's interesting. They maybe want to avoid the Corki-Nami pairing, pretty strong right now. What the side of AL really needs is an Orianna Shockwave delivery system. They don't necessarily have that. I mean, you can speed up an Olaf, but he's not really able to dash onto the backline like that. I think Syndra is actually a beautiful pick here. If Shaoye is proficient on that, that can really give them a lot of potential in this draft. Seems like it's just a hover. They're going to take the Bard that's really good into Orianna. And if this read is true, that they're forcing this Poppy to go support so Olaf doesn't have to lane against Vayne, then Bard is really good into Poppy. So this is kind of a bit of a 4D chess from LGD right here.
And they're also stealing away some comfort pieces from AL in the Nefiri for Tarzan. Obviously, it's also comfort for Heng, but more so that Bard for Kael, not letting him have that one a little bit later on in the series. We do get the Varus locked in for AL, more than likely going towards Hope. And maybe we'll see if Tarzan was the one they were saving for here with their final pick.
So based on this, it should just be an Olaf top. And they're just going to tank the Vayne matchup. But maybe the idea is send Pantheon top level 1 and just constantly threaten the Pantheon W stun onto Burdol. I feel like that could be what they're going for here. I'd be surprised if they go Poppy support Pantheon jungle. Then I feel like you can't really help Breathe as much. So maybe Tarzan is going to come up with a clever pathing. Basically, when you have a really one-sided lane like this, you just want to do everything in your power to kind of cheese or change that lane dynamic. Like if Olaf kills Vayne early, it's kind of just GG, right? So presumably Tarzan, maybe with the help of Kael, will be looking to do that in this early game.
And I expect that. I mean, that's the combo that has been the bread and butter for anyone's legend over this last year is Tarzan and Kael. And with very aggressive, kind of tempo-oriented picks here, I expect that to be a little bit more emphasized. I will say, even though Tarzan hasn't played the Pantheon nearly as much here in split number 3, his Pantheon in split number 2 was one of the deadliest we had in the LPL. And I know he's going to be wanting to get a little revenge for losing out on his Nefiri for this game number 1 and for this series as a whole. It's LGD who are trying to work back from a very tough position. They are down and out. It has been a 6-series slide for this team. That's never what you want. And AL, they lost to WE. They're looking to bounce back. Are they angrier than ever? The push for those final positions at least starts now with the second round robin. And we have our game number 1 of our second series of the night kicking off now. It's Anyone's Legend versus LGD Game 1. Okay, little competing fan chants. We still haven't gotten the back and forth nature yet.
This is exactly what we saw coming with this top lane matchup. Looks like it was, I believe, Crisp started up there with Burdol, dropped that Warden there for him to make sure he can see Breathe if he tries to have a little too much fun going too close to the minion waves. And it's going to enable Burdol to be in this range versus melee matchup, though he doesn't have nearly as much vision of where Tarzan can be coming from. Thankfully for him, Tarzan is starting in the bot side. Here comes the Nimbus.
It's really quick. It's a Storm Raiders start for Breathe as well. Very interesting on the Olaf, and already burns that Ignite down. The Ghost will be burned on the other side.
Yeah, I just didn't see that coming at all, but I think it's really good for Burdol. The only upside for Breathe is that his Ignite is a 60-second shorter cooldown. He just kind of pops the Ignite for the Nimbus Cloak to get the extra range and autos, but if the damage isn't threatening enough, Burdol shrugs it off and is just going to have way less threatening pressure on him, and he's going to be able to have way more dominant agency in this lane.
I want to see how the Storm Raiders tech works out into the ranged matchup. Obviously, the Olaf can always chase down later on into the game, but we'll find that out later as Shanks trying to get a stop on the back there. Won't actually see him, but Tangyuan did end up stopping himself just to make sure he can get out of harm's way. Both junglers going to be pathing opposite sides here. We'll be coming to the culmination of their paths here soon with, looks like Heng going to be a little bit quicker to it than Tarzan.
Right as I was about to praise Tangyuan for his really good base timer, as the Ghost Flash rise into Orianna, it was a really cheeky wave hold there from Shanks to call Tangyuan out on his bluff and say, would you really recall if I froze this? The answer was no, and that means Rise's tempo is not going to be nearly as exquisite as it was before. He would have had the perfect amount of gold for the tier, could have left the base and missed nothing, but I think Shanks is going to force Tangyuan to miss some XP here, get a good shove in, and probably going to have more priority as is Orianna now.
We did end up seeing the Scuttle Crab just traded away by both junglers, so nothing came of that early setup there at least. The redeploy will come out from Heng. He does have a pickaxe back out on the map. We saw Tarzan take the cheeky back and got the longsword cheaply like you do now, I guess, in the early game as jungler. And we are getting exactly what we wanted, some movement from both supports, but Kael was spotted out on his move.
Yeah, we see Crisp here, and that is the thing of why Bard is so powerful, is he can do these cheeky lane ganks like this, and I feel like this could really work. Crisp showing up here, he's got the magical journey. There's no blue team members here except for Breed. This is about to be a 3v1 any moment now.
They're going to hold the wave there too. Magical Journey coming through. Early flash from Breed. He's trying to get a little bit of distance here. He gets condemned into the wall, and First Blood goes over to LGD. Beautifully executed.
It's just like that for LGD, and that's what I expected for them to be able to put up some shots here into AL, but never counted out entirely like that. When one play goes really well on one side of the map, always look at the other side. There is gonna be consequences down here for Shaoye being forced to take a really bad recall on the Sivir, and this is really the realm and the domain in which where I think AL really thrives, is even if you hit them at one of their heads, I think they're just a Hydra with 5 heads. You take out Breed, the other 4 heads just get way more time to feast and to grow and to get stronger. That's just going to be a 369 gold lead down here for Hope, saving his TP as well. We'll see if that really has some implications or not, but all things considered, a really beautiful First Blood for LGD. Let's just see if they can stem the bleeding in the bot side.
Heng was thinking about it in the top lane. Breathe is looking pretty juicy. Kael will be spotted out again on another ward. That's been consistent so far. Kael's early roams not being fallen prey to. I think LGD have done a really good job of that early warding as well. Crisp and Kael just going to visit their top laners up here for just a bit. Dragon is up and available. I wonder which team wants to put some more prio onto the neutral objectives.
We'll see, the Dragon is, you're right, up and available. No one's really in a favorable position to start it up just yet. I was just a bit distracted, to be honest with you. Kim down, was able to clutch up and turn the lights on. for us here on LPL English.
Nice.
But
Shout out
I've
Kim
been
Dow.
thinking about it so much, and the thing with the Vayne is it can get any team a win on the board. We were able to see EDG take out BLG thanks to the ZDC. A lot of rhymes, but Vayne versus BLG. So I think Burdol being ahead here on this Vayne definitely means that the underdog team can win a game like this.
I want to see more Burdol solo kills given to me. I need more for my collection. We had so many to pick from, and we're not going to see a solo kill. We are going to see Hope dead. As, oh, he does barely make it out. Now with the call of the pack, Heng able to survive. Crisp taking a hit of damage there, but Kael just trying to clear out the minions. Tarzan was on his way. Don't think he's going to be fast enough to stop the back, and he will just let it go through. He wants to make a play now. Kael. Okay, they're not going to find the play.
Mazel, are LGD really that good, Mazel? This is kind of blowing my mind. They're just up here with a 1.5k gold lead, 2-0 like that. Not really any counterplay on these looks they've had against AL. Two really good plays on both sides of the map where they had the numbers and were able to get some free kills. I think it's off of the back of Crisp, the only champ here, with alongside Heng with the double KP. This Bard and the Fury just kind of running around and picking up kills as a unit.
I'm going to say, don't fall for the LGD trap. They always get them in the first bit, and then macro and mid-game decision-making becomes their nightmare. We'll see if that still is the case, or if they're really able to take this setup into AL and try to get a win. Long way from that, though, is Dragon number 1 still up and available. And now there's grubs spawning in 25 seconds. Could be a split, or it could be a full-on team fight. Which one do you prefer?
Full-on team fight would definitely be something that maybe AL's comp is more designed to do. As long as Olaf has his flash and his Nimbus cloak, he can really get active in these fights. Just rise as a champion. You're not really thematically designed to team fight nearly as well as a champion like Shanks here on this Orianna. So you want to avoid being in these 5v5 situations and kind of use your Realm Warp to cause numbers disadvantages. You've got the Bard doing that already. That's kind of what your comp leans into, is using the Realm Warp, using the Magical Journey, being in these places that AL can't be.
Very interesting. Heng just kind of standing there at the red buff for a little while, trying to see if they could maybe catch Hope out and try to skirt around some of the vision potentially. But because of that and because of the lack of pressure from LGD, the grubs will just go over to AL.
I feel like this is really incredible macro masterclass here from AL. They're giving the Drake, but they know their priorities. A lot of teams nowadays would say that they do favor the grubs over first Drake, but a look
they're
here
gonna try to make a Realm Warp play. Shanks goes for the early flash. Is it going to be enough to get him out? And here you come with Heng, but they realize Grand Starfall can come from out of nowhere. And Heng immediately backs away, almost finding the pick onto Shanks. Did burn his flash, so that could be returned to, but Crisp also burned his.
So LGD does get to trade Drake, but there's going to be more looks here. Kael in such a cheeky spot.
We're still going. Tarzan. He's got the ball delivery system. What are you looking for? You got to watch for the call of the pack, though, because he can just immediately dodge out of that one. Hope was on his way up as well, so immediately LGD do back away. Burdol putting some pressure in the top side is breathing a little bit of trouble.
Same story again, popping the Ignite for the Nimbus Cloak, trading it with the Ghost. Again, that is a 60-second advantage for Breathe on the Summoners. But it's not the best thing in the world. The Vayne is just so good at kiting this Olaf. Here we go, another Magical Journey. Heng pops the W.
Oh no. Heng just gets Cosmic, or at least comes in with the Cosmic Binding from Crisp and finds the kill there. That's 3-0 already for LGD. What a start.
Yeah, Heng just pops the call of the pack and one-shots him coming through the Magical Journey. I'm telling you, this Nefiri Bard combo is lethal, and AL doesn't really have the answers for this. We're getting an invade here from Tarzan, you know, working together with Kael, but Hope is just stranded down there alone in the bottom side. 2 deaths, not really much to his fault. It's just that AL is playing so far away from him.
And a little bit of a hangover loss seeping into this series, it feels like, for AL. Team that you would think would bounce back strongly from a loss like that against WE. They lost 2-0 emphatically against that team. And now I'm trying to figure out what comes next, and it's not looking put together. 3K advantage for LGD, and that's something to be proud about for this series, at least to start like this for them.
I mean, even Shaoye has the cull, so that lead is only set to grow. I feel like the main thing AL has working for them is their teamfight composition identity. If they can get Tarzan and Shanks working together, maybe using that Pantheon stun into a Shockwave, or some of these high-level teams are really good at using Shockwave plus Flash, where they use another member to flash it in, like a Poppy Kael kind of look. I want to see Shanks get involved, use a proactive Shockwave. That will really set AL back into the point of this game. You don't need any momentum in this first, 11.5 minutes per se, but you do need something to go your way eventually on one of these looks. You're going to get turns and timers and opportunities. I want to see a Shockwave. I want to see something like that, but they're looking Heng.
Ooh, the flash play on a Shanks, the Shockwave onto himself. The Sombrero will not save him. Heng gets another kill, 3-0 on this Nefiri.
I think LGD just has the number. They know that Shanks is the main threat, so they can just target him first before he gets targeting them. And now Shanks has nothing to do. He's left respawning. Breathe gets a +1 though. I mean, hey, bet we would take those as the Olaf.
That's a dub. That's a dub. Breathe with the undertow. Does get condemned immediately and loses a chunk of his turret, but it's the dubs that you want. As we are getting to these first item spikes here, fools.
Yeah, I mean, those are the dubs they kind of need, to be honest. This game is way more cooked than it's supposed to be. Heng sitting on a 1k gold lead here. You're kind of glad to deny the guy with the 1k gold lead, the crab, Like, we can't have this guy have everything. We need to have something for ourselves. We saw Breathe even hits level 11 before Burdol up here. That's going to be helpful just as a sign. That's some kind of a promising lead they have in any way, shape, or form.
And I'm just going to say it's something I've known to be true. As soon as everybody starts saying it's a 2-0, it's a 2-0, oh, it's only a 2-0, nothing else is going to happen, that's when it always ends up being the opposite. That's why I go into these series and I'm always like, nope, it's LGD is going to win it. Because, you just have to go with the crazy one, and you might just be correct here in the LPL. And so far, I know LGD haven't won this game yet, but they are masterfully in the lead, and they could be looking at another dragon in about 25 seconds.
Yeah, so if you even flipped the nameplate tags of this series and you saw AL sitting in that position with that draft, you'd think it's just Raps. So maybe it's just the fact that we have these preconceived notions that AL is going to perform better, that we're just so surprised by LGD doing this. But I think their team comp is quite set up to succeed. We've been seeing the Nefiri Bard working together. We've been seeing the Vayne have this range versus melee matchup in the top side. The Ryzen's answered that we're on it quite beautifully, and they've just got gold leads across the board. That's 5 champions down there on the HUD, all representing a gold lead for LGD.
And the fact that the Cole came through, and now Shaoye has about a 1.3k lead over Hope. It just feels like AL running out of options in this game. As Dragon started up here, Grand Starfall's available. They're moving. They have pings coming, but Kael might be the first one to get caught out. Grand Starfall coming in. Tarzan says it's time, but a magical journey will get crisp out. Flash comes through, but the wallbang doesn't. Kael now leaving himself out to dry, but they immediately pounce straight onto him, and that is all she wrote here. Shaoye falls, and that's that lead getting chunked just a bit. The Dragon did go over, though.
That's the AL I like to see, but they might have more for us down here. Tangyuan split up from his team.
He is. Shockwave is there, and Shanks finds a kill. Hope is now the focus, though, and Hope will go down for a 0-3 scoreline, and a lot of those kills going straight to Heng.
You know what we're seeing here? We're seeing when one team finally gets, some bit of a fight or a number on the board. They get their first kills aside of AL, and then it really makes LGD upset. They said, and when we're angry, you're not going to like me when I'm angry. Burdol shows up, teleports, and shows them what his wallet can do. He smacks them with it, shows up that's his gold lead. But even Kael here flashing in, it almost baits or misleads Shaoye into thinking that it was a bit of a look for them, and that allowed Tarzan to reach him with the flash. Hope getting the Chain of Corruption to pop the spell shield. they stay a bit too long. And once this Vayne shows up, by the way, he just has final hour and all that move speed. I've been there. It's just a top lane Vayne with like a 3-level lead on you. You just can't escape that at that point.
So Rift Herald had gotten started by AL, but LGD are here. They still have the advantage in these fights, but it's AL that just want to force the hand. He's going to try to steal it right out from under him. Heng stepping up, though. He's going to back off now. LGD actually a little bit worrisome to take the fight forward. Oh, he's going to use the Rift Herald. Okay. He's thinking about using it for the fight. Battle Rift Herald has been summoned. Burdol trying to get a little bit damage down. Okay, Shelly did not like those dogs. You can see that there. And Shelly's just going to try to waltz her way to mid lane, but should not get the charge through. A very unfortunate bit of a waste of a Rift Herald for AL.
Well, one comparison that I would make for high-level league games, which I might have to watch this Poppy dodge the Cosmic Binding first, is that it feels like a bit of a chess or a bit of a tennis match where sometimes you got to keep score of what's happening back to back, who's winning one play then winning the next. And I would say, as much as they weren't the best case scenario in either of the previous two plays, I would say that's point AL twice in a row. First, they got that shutdown gold onto Shaoye after the dragon to at least get some recuperation, and then they last hit the Rift Herald, meaning LGD themselves with that lead couldn't snowball it further. So AL is getting some favorable outcomes and showing why they are one of the best teams in this league. It's just a matter of, can that matter more than the lead LGD already has?
And we're going to be looking at the setup around this bottom side of the map as Heng trying to get a catch out on Kael. Doesn't end up finding the angle there for the Hound's pursuit. LGD still plenty of firepower ahead of this dragon. As we do have a tiny bit of time before the setup comes through, I do want to see if we can bring up that graphic of our predictions, because I know you foreshadowed yours earlier. But it's very important to note that both of us have a little bit of same feelings for both these two teams, with AL being one of the top 3 teams, at least third for me, first for you, but also a bit of similarity between where we value LGD. I still do think they will scrape through and not have to go to play-ins, but this team needs to show me a lot before that.
Yeah, I mean, LGD is just a team where we're not even expecting them to have this lead right now, so this is definitely changing a bit of my cognitive bias that I had pre-baked in coming in with my perspective of this team. But yeah, I had them all the way at the bottom, Mazel. I really did. I had EDG. I'm just such a big fan of the EDG roster, which is sitting at the bottom right now, and I had to think someone's got to go below them. The closest place to them in the standings is LGD, sitting at 7th place, so I thought they could make a bit of a switcheroo and that AL could surge up their way to first with some of the tumultuous tides going on over at BLG. But yeah, lo and behold, LGD kind of proving me wrong here.
Something to think about, as AL actually going to TP Shanks down to the bot lane. 12 seconds away from dragon spawning would be sole point for LGD. AL do not want to let that happen.
Now, one point that I want to get across while I still can is AL is never to be underestimated in any given game. Even if they're down like this, they can easily flip the switch, win a team fight, get back in the game just like that. Look at their posture here. They're ready to fight, and they have the tools.
Couple item spikes in tow, all the ultimates available. It's about the mechanical execution of these next few moments. LGD could also just let this one go. They could just say, we don't need to fight. We're going to give this timer over to AL. It doesn't look like that's what they want. On the Hunt has been popped, and LGD are moving forward. Kael gets locked down a bit. You can tell LGD very hesitant to overextend. The Tempered Fate went wide, and that just means LGD back away from the play. They're going to go to mid lane.
Yeah, no way. LGD not having the confidence to step up, but Kael does.
Grand Starfall into the back line. Tarzan looking for his target, tries to go for Shaoye. Shaoye able to flash away for now, but Chris becomes the target now. Tarzan looking for his kills, looking for something. Burdol decides to pop the final hour, wants to go in. Tarzan found something on the back with Hope, with the spike coming through. It's not enough. Final hour might just be Burdol's final days. One more hit, and the undertow from his lane opponent comes through, and you called it, my friend. One fight is all AL need. Lead has been chunked, and AL have shattered the confidence of LGD.
AL always has this in the tank, and I think that's what makes them such a great team. At any given moment of any given game, AL will just stat check you. They will just hands check you. They will just say, we are going to stand here. I know this is what you want to do. Well, we don't want you to do that, and we are ready to stop you by any means. And as a matter of fact, LGD felt that aggression. They backed all the way off from the dragon. They said, we don't even have the means to do this anymore. AL is so well positioned with their team comp and with the state of this game. We want to look mid instead, and that enables AL to have a look with the Grand Starfall, Tarzan coming in with Kael, disrupting and creating so much space in these fights on the Poppy, providing so much CC that, look at that, AL's able to do it, and now the scoreboard looks a lot more even and doable.
And the thing I'll say here, and I might be looking too much into it, but I've been watching a lot of Pro League. I just feel like confidence was completely down in the dumps there for LGD. They had a 3,000 gold lead, and they were playing like they were going into a team that had like a 5,000 to 6,000 gold lead over them. And those are those moments where it's AL's confidence in themselves that really reigns supreme, because then you just start looking like a bunch of chickens with your head cut off as LGD. Burdol pops his final hour while his entire team is getting engaged on and can't do anything with it. And those are the situations that you can just tell the difference between a confident team and a non-confident team.
You're so right, and it was so apparent right there. You could see that Crisp wasn't able to land the Tempered Fader, set up a good engage, and then LGD's comp was just in such an awkward spot. You want to see Burdol coming off of these way better flank angles where he can get way more damage dealt. If he's just coming in front to back like that, he can't really access through this team comp.
Tarzan very hard to take down, but LGD are trying. Kael's now the focus. Tarzan's still down about half health, but he's going to heal up from the honey fruit. Looks like an attempted play by LGD to get something out of AL. I will say, though, a little bit of side lane pressure could go a long way for Burdol. He's going to pop the final hour because he saw that Tarzan was coming. Beautiful condemn back. Burdol's out safely.
I was going to say, why is Burdol not fighting Breathe back there when he's standing so close to him? He's got the final hour. Then I realized the Grand Starfall is the constant threatening presence that he's got to be concerned about on this Vayne. Thankfully for him, Tarzan did just pop that, so maybe he'll have a timer or a window here to put some pressure onto Breathe, but that XP lead that Breathe has is starting to matter a lot. He's got level 16 2 items here. Even though Burdol's got a lead, it's not something that Breathe is really writing home about or too concerned about at the end of the day. He can definitely be strong into this Vayne at any given point.
You see the death squad of AL move around. It's been Kael and Tarzan tied at the hip, rightfully so. What we were talking about from the draft and how integral this combination is to AL just in general. But it's LGD moving around for a setup. Heng is on vision here, and AL moving here as well. There's only the Baron up, and I don't think either team really wants it, but the Scuttle Crab was up, and honestly, I was down for a 5v5 over a Scuttle Crab.
Yeah, I mean, the 5v5 would be great. I don't think Blabber or Tian are in the game, so thankfully we didn't have to have anything too crazy happen. This tower up here is not long for the world. If they can chip this even once, Shanks could be vulnerable, but he's going to get to chill, farm it up a little longer. Looks like we have ourselves a bit of a slow burner. Shanks building his way towards 3 items. That might be the next spike to look out for. Or really when Hope gets this Mura mana, then AL is going to fully be online. So I would say until then, or some spikes before then, are LGD's best opportunities. I would say the likes of maybe Actualizer on Tangyuan would be the best you can go for here. Maybe a Fiend Hunter Bolts on Burdol. But those are going to be the spikes you got to go on. If you don't go, if you don't force Baron or force objectives, AL will just catch up in scale.
Something we haven't talked about too much, but it's still something to think about for AL and some of the scaling factor that they do have. But also that Hope is just going to be a menace as time goes on with his poke, especially around these objectives. And speaking of those objectives, about 40 seconds away from another dragon, another attempt for LGD to get to Soul Point.
One more chance for me to write home that whenever AL is in the game, do not assume any dragon or any objective is just going to be free or easy pickings. If you're getting a dragon against AL, they're going to either A, make you pay for it across the map, or B, pressure you into thinking they're going to out-team fight you. Or C, just out-team fight you and take the dragon for themselves.
So the preemptive TPs coming out from AL. Breathe speedy as all get out. Tarzan is about half health now, and that's pretty scary. He does have the Grand Starfall, though, can find backline access, and all they need is target selection. It looks like Tarzan wants to take this time to back. This is actually so smart. Not on vision, will take the back, and has the Grand Starfall to get back into the fight. But the dragon, it's already half health. He didn't realize how fast they burn it. It's going to have to be the Grand Starfall play or nothing here, as AL are on the wrong side of the fight. They are waiting for their jungler. They are waiting for their savior. The Keeper's Verdict goes wide. Here comes Grand Starfall trying to join with the team. The shockwave on the 2 as they do find one, and now Breathe. He's ripping and roaring through them as though Burdol looking for the fight back. Does have the final hour, but the rest of AL turn onto him. There you go. Hound's pursuit for Heng to get the reset. He wants another, but immediately gets taken down, and now Tangyuan has to flash away. Shanks going for the kill, going for the follow through. Tangyuan gets out with a Realm Warp.
What a banger of a fight out of nowhere! LGD starts the Drake, barely gets it before Tarzan shows up. We see Tempered Fate and Keeper's Verdict flying past each other. Then the fight breaks out and everyone is trying to get an angle on someone, flashing out or flashing in, doing everything in their last-ditch efforts to make sure they do everything in their possibilities in this fight. It's just crazy what unfolds here. Kael, I think, cleanses himself with the spellbook, but Shaoye once again just gets one shot. He's been AL's target all game, and I think they just had his number. This time, it was Breathe able to do so much of that damage to him, but Tarzan is just such a menace. You see Heng goes for the cheeky look onto Breathe, but watch how much damage Tarzan does. Strikes him right through. And just like that, they're back, baby.
Yeah, the gold lead is literally nothing. I think it's under 500 now. Actually, no. Let's just make it dead even for AL. And this is the terrifying point of LGD's games, because we have seen this story play out time and time. And I'm not going to do it 6 times in a row, but that many times again. It's been really tough for LGD.
They do have spikes right now, though, Mazel. They do. They got the Actualizer, they got the Death Stance, and they got the Fiend Hunter Bolts. You could just do the salty run back here and fight them over some conditions, any chance you get. You don't got your Summoner spells at the moment, and you don't have the LDR or the next spike on Shaoye. Maybe that's when you really want to force and go, because look, even Hope with the gold deficit has his 3-core compared to Xiaoye's absence thereof. So the main lead here is on Shanks. With that Shadow Flame, he is so incredibly strong. And it's going to be really anyone's fight here, Mazel. Just who lands the spells on the more precious targets.
I think precious is a good word. Depending on which side you're looking at. I do want to highlight 3 items are now completed aplenty for Shanks and Hope, which is extremely important for AL. Meanwhile, we just got the 3rd item spike complete for Shaoye.
Okay.
You already got that Actualizer for Tangyuan. And you have the 3rd item spike with the Death's Dance for Heng.
Yeah, and even Chris picks up his 2-item spike here as well with the Lock and Kael. He's stronger than his opposition in Kael. This is a really good look on the map as LGD. Their gold is spent in their inventories. They're in strong states on decent spikes. You really want to see them force the issue somewhere, get this vision. Crisp getting lots down. If he finishes this base as well, he's going to have the every support's dream, which is where you have all your favorite wards placed and a full set of wards in the inventory to boot. It is Crisp here now. Meanwhile, Kael sitting on some adventurous unstuck spellbook summoner spells. And pretty much everything is slowly culminating towards this Ocean Drake soul point for LGD.
It could be an Ocean Soul for them. That would be so huge for their compositional strength and how they are able to kind of withstand or apply siege on the map. I do wonder, how does AL crack the code here? For both teams, you could see a little bit of hesitancy around the Dragon early starts, but a lot of vision already down there for LGD.
Yeah, LGD does get that initial setup with Crisp. I would imagine Kael on this base, he could even have his next spike. And then we're just going to have one of the best case scenarios, which is where both teams are incredibly
he's got the convergence.
Powerful.
Oh,
and it's just going to be who plays better. Yup. Oh, that is where the gold lead transpires. That's where it builds. It's right there in that inventory. He's got that, but Tangyuan doesn't. So this could be the meaningful difference between mid. Kael pops the Spellbook Ghost. He's ready to look at any given time. We're going to fight real soon, Mazel, and it's going to be a banger. I mean, look how much each of these teams has in their inventories. They're all so strong.
And he might not be fiery like Captain Shanks in One Piece, but he is fiery all his own. Burdol going with the deep TP with the flank on the vein. AL move into the river here, but they don't know Burdol's there. Now Breathe will. Oh no, Burdol. I think you just ran into the wrong Viking. He's going to run you down, man. The undertow comes through. He's able to get away for now. Now Shanks is in some trouble, but Tarzan comes over the wall. Shanks needs to be really careful on the exit here. More from Tangyuan to get him out to safety. Hope is just face checking onto Burdol, but I don't think that's a fight Burdol wants. Piercing arrow queued up and ready to go. Flash in to get him point blank. Hope takes down Burdol, and now it's an uneven fight.
Yeah, Burdol tries to be a menace on the backline with the teleport, but now we see that being matched here from Shanks and IL. They're going to deny this soul.
No potential for LGD to get that fight. Breathe says no, it's time to fight here now. Grand Starfall comes in over the top, but Shanks already takes down Shaoye. And AL, they take the lead for the first time in the game. And it's so huge, it might just lead into a Baron for them.
This game was just one big Shaoye despair. I keep looking and seeing him get obliterated one shot by Tarzan on this Pantheon. They're having their way as AL. Securing this Drake, now securing this Nash. They've been on the back foot all game, but you can never discount AL. Let's take another look at this replay here. Burdol coming in off such a cheeky look here, Mazel, but you can't necessarily do that or get away with that. That's not allowed here in Breed's Town. If he had more sums, maybe to access Shanks or finish some of these guys off, life would be good, Mazel. But it wasn't able to be like that. Hope has his number, flashes onto him point blank just to make sure that there's no outs for Burdol.
Tried to condemn him, but he has the spell shield. That feels so bad. There's just no way to get around it as the Vayne because your only ability is your condemn. And so that is a very tough thing. This is Burdol's first Vayne. I'm not going to lie, hasn't looked the most comfortable on it here so far in this game. Potential for it to turn around, but it's AL who have comfortably sat themselves in the driver's seat now, especially with Shanks on a massive differential between him and Tangyuan.
Yeah, the mid lane has just been mid-gap here for the side of AL. Now picking up the Medjai Soul Stealer. That's how you know you're feeling yourself as a mid laner. All of us base mid laners in the world can agree. And just like this with the Seekers as well, you know, I received some advice from one of my coaches. He said, don't buy the Medjais unless you have 10 stacks, Flash, and Seekers. He's got all three. Now he's got his magic book, and he's ready to start collecting names.
Yeah, he's already got about 10 of them in there. Gonna need a little bit more than that if he wants to get out of this one with a book full. Still a while till the dragon comes up, but the Baron is still up for another minute and 15 seconds for AL. The cape at least, and the siege will continue. They're going to take down the tier 2 in mid lane. LGD, they're thinking about a little bit of a play. AL still can play so aggressively though, because they still also have the GA for Tarzan.
So this is just AL's map as it stands with this Baron buff. Committing to these bases is going to mean they might have just the back end of one more wave to play with. But I will say this, Mazel. We have a pretty exciting look here in this particular match, because you know what I see when I look at this scoreboard and I look at this particular match? I see a game that has the makings to go the distance. We just have two dragons on each side. I thought you were just going to
leave it at a game.
And hardly a gold lead as well. We don't have any game, Mazel. We have the game. We have the makings of anybody's game. Whoever plays the best capitalizes better on
anyone's legend game?
Anyone's legend.
Game legend?
Any game legend, Mazel. It starts up here in the top line.
All right. We're going to try to get Breathe. Breathe just says, no, I'm going to run back on a Burdol. I don't think there's going to be any saving this Olaf today. He's going to heal a decent amount. That's all she wrote. Heng gets the kill too.
Heng gets the kill too, so Breathe going to lose his Ignite off the back end of that exchange. But Burdol here is just pretty much never going to be a threat to Breathe. Now that he's got all these items, the Storm Razor for kiting, the Fiend Hunter gives you move speed. He's even got the QSS to negate any slows or CC that come his way, particularly from Pantheon or even the Varus. But even if Breathe were to land on Undertow, Burdol can negate that. He's really strong on this Bane, a really strong scaling pick, so they're always going to have their hopes. Same with Tangyuan on this rise. These picks do scale. He's not even that down on gold. He's got 384 creeps. And we just got to be on pretty good pace, regardless of the fact that any given fight could break out.
Ooh, speaking of any given fight, Heng also has his G8 3-man shockwave coming through. And Shanks does end up going golden. Tangyuan's on the wrong side of the fight. He just went in without his team. He goes golden, though. Maybe Burdol can save the day. Tangyuan does go down. Tarzan goes right back on to Burdol. Burdol, though, he's out for now. Final hour, really doing some work there. But Heng will be the one that takes everything from AL. And now Grand Starfall, you gotta realize that they have the possibility to follow through. Flash coming out from Shanks. He started the fight with a 3-man shockwave, and he ends it right there.
You take a swing for AL, you better not miss. This is what makes them such a titan, such one of the greatest teams in the entire league, if not entire scene right now, is that they will always be ready to win any given game. LGD goes for a pick onto AL, but that is exactly where they went wrong. AL collapses together as a team and punishes off of the back of this way better inputs. They get that beautiful shockwave just to pop the GA right off the bat, and you're just not able to reduce any of these HP bars to 0. They work together and they pounce.
We're going to take the inhib in bot lane and back out with another dragon. That'll be 3 ocean dragons in a row, and we take a look back at the fight.
Yeah, I don't know what LGD is really seeing here, but Crisp goes for a very audacious
Tangyuan
flash.
goes crazy, bro.
Just Shanks hitting this shockwave as well, but Tangyuan, oh my god, Mazel, I totally forgot about this. What was bro seeing here? We may never know. I don't think he fully meant to just realm warp that deep. I think he thought it was going to be more of a flank than a melee range appearance. You see QSS from Burdol is able to keep him alive, but look how good Tarzan
Shout out to Tarzan,
on one
man.
of his picks, man. Right?
Dude, he had like 100 health and he still goes back in, gets the healing from the Sundered Sky. All he does is get his GA popped and it ends up in an almost entire team wipe of LGD.
That's what I'm saying, man. Tarzan is such a threat in today's day and age. I was actually talking to our challenger jungle here locally, and I was thinking, who do you like more? He said Tarzan, and I think he meant it.
I do like some Tarzan. Some big shutdowns. Oh,
here he goes. Speak of the devil.
Oh, they thought they were on the other side. I don't think they don't realize that Heng is behind them. Tempered Fate goes through. Ragnarok has already been popped, and now Tarzan. What is happening on my screen right now? Tangyuan just going down. Burdol trying to make the hero play, but he's at a 1v5 now. The piercing arrow has already been used, but the hail of arrows hadn't, and now Hope claims another kill onto the AD carry top laner, Burdol.
All I see here, Mazel, is gray screens for LGD. It looks like they might just be fully and completely chopped. I don't really see a way out of there from this one. They had the lead at the start. Kind of had AL right where they wanted him.
They all TP'd top, by the way. They all TP'd top.
They all just showed up. The Avengers are top.
Hilarious, bro. That is absolutely hilarious. The TP from Hope, the TP from Shanks, and the delay from Kael and Tarzan. That is a beautifully executed macro game from AL. They took the 4,000 gold lead that LGD had and threw it right back into their face. 1-0 in this best of 3.
Yeah, this is what we expected. AL was able to come out on top after the first game of the series, but not in the most pretty of fashions at all, if I will say. LGD, that was their game to win. They had the first few Drakes. They had the 4,000 gold lead or something like that. They were in a great position and posture from the start, but just not into the finish. They made a few oversteps and a few mistakes into AL, and unfortunately, you just don't have any room for error against a team as good as this.
And it felt like LGD had a good draft. It felt like LGD might be able to do it. But again, fools, I told you, don't fall for the trap, man. We've had our hearts broken so many times. 6 times in a row, in fact, that LGD have not been able to find a series win. It's been a tough road for this team, and it just always comes down the mid to late game macro decision making that just seems to not work.
It looked like Burdol had such a great lead. I remember it was the 2 Drakes, and if they get the 3rd one there, their trajectory is just set for victory. They had the first 2 Drakes, they got the first gold lead, but it was at that 3rd Drake fight where AL really turned it around. I'm sure we're going to get to see a bit more of a breakdown and some replays of this game, but think back to it, Burdol just wasn't really able to find the angles he wanted on that Vayne to deal the damage and be as useful as his pick was meant to be. And it's just because AL just formed such a beautiful phalanx, and they thwarted him off. They didn't allow him any access or any stragglers to deal any damage to. If you're all just one big unit clump as 5, Vayne can't really do much to you at all. And it was a composition that was really beautifully executed by the side of AL, and credit is given where credit is due.
Yeah, and while we did maybe not see the fireworks in the top lane in the earlier part of the game that we were expecting, we did still get a lot of influence from Breathe. And some unfortunate influence from Burdol there too. But you see with Gold Graph, any lead is stable until it's not.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Any lead is stable. It's just that the leads are preferably coming from teams with more stability. You know, these teams who are a little bit more reliable at the top of the table, when they have a lead, it almost always ends well. But you were a bit of a knower when it comes to the LGD leads. The LGD leads, they might look good on the start of the graph, but it's just
they always look good, man.
Expectation of what happens next, and that is sort of what came true in this fulfilling prophecy here thus far tonight. But that's really nice. As the viewer and the caster here, we get to see that this is a match that's fun to behold. This champs on the side of LGD, you know, whatever champs they pick, rather, these players on the side of LGD really have some skills and some potential. So if they're just able to kind of course correct, be a little bit more on the mark, they could definitely take us to a game 3 in this series.
Definitely could. And we'll see if it does happen. Got to give shout out to Tarzan's Pantheon yet again. Felt like a dastardly evil pick in a lot of these, because he was able to just survive so many times, find those engages and kind of CC chains onto Shaoye, onto multiple members. And while the whole team was functioning like they should, it was Tarzan that was kind of leading the charge back into the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's just an automatic MVP. If I'm watching that Tarzan performance, I mean, you highlight it in that one recent fight where he was just able to go number after number, just erasing them from the side of LGD, then dropping in with the Grand Starfall. And even at the end there, it looked like a bit of an awkward angle, but he's just kind of corralling them into this awkward part of the map where he just runs this place,
one right
and
here,
you
right?
don't get to have any say in the matter. Look at this. It's off of the back of the Tangyuan int, sure, but look at the way he plays out the rest of this. His GM lives
like
on the
20
1
health,
HP,
bro.
but he has that confidence, that gusto that it takes to be one of these top-end players. He knows he's got the Orianna in the back pocket as well. He's got the shielding, the healing, everything he needs, and the confidence, Mazel. That is the key theme, highlight word from this series, is confidence. You come into this series with that, that's what you're going to be able to walk away with a win here tonight. And just because they made some mistakes, some blunders, some errors in the early game, that doesn't mean anyone's legend isn't the more confident team. In these team fights, they had the positioning, they were ready, and it definitely showcased why they're so high in that standings.
And you can see some of the latent attempts from Burdol, but unfortunately too little too late. Who do you give MVP for this game? Is it just Tarzan?
It's just Tarzan. I mean, I would
Tarzan.
love to ask who else even comes into mind, because it just seems so automatic and instantaneous.
Kael a little bit, I guess. Shanks did really well to kind of stay in the thick of things. He got the 3-man.
Shanks did well. You are right. Yeah, Shanks definitely did well.
But I just think, I don't think they go anywhere without Tarzan.
I really don't. I mean, he was just there and he was ready. He didn't make any deaths for himself. It was just hope caught on the weak side. It was just a good setup from the side of LGD in the top side. Tarzan, he bided his time and waited for his opportune moments to come. And when they did, and this is what makes him such a great player, he struck, and he struck true. He struck gold, Mazel, and that is able to take them to the first win of this series here tonight.
It's Shanks. He gets it. Maybe not our choice, but you know, a choice. They didn't want to continue giving Tarzan them because he's gotten too many. Still pretty impressive Orianna from Shanks.
If you look close, I mean, sometimes these players are just having really impressive micro and mechanics and trading and spacing and all those beautiful, lovely things. And perhaps he was just really pivoting that Orianna to the highest potential. We didn't really see it. But if you're walking away from the game with a 4,000 gold lead, typically that means you did something right, if you know what I mean.
I would say so.
Probably he deserved some credit and recognition for the performance he just had.
Well, we deserve a little bit of a break after that craziness. AL up 1-0 after that first game. We'll see if LGD can bring us to full 3 or if AL bounce back with a 2-0 win.